Okay, so I am so grateful that she has been sworn in and the fight that she has in her voice. Before I came into the station today, I was watching an interview with Haley Robeson, who's one of the Epstein survivors. And if you don't know her story, maybe we'll talk about it down the road. But I really appreciate what Representative Grivala said just now, and as well as what Haley Robeson mentioned, and something that weighs on me as we have these conversations, and we've been aware of Epstein as a human trafficker, as the abuser of young girls for over a decade now, and we all take it differently. As a comedian, I have never actually mentioned anything about Epstein on stage. As a commentator, we have discussed it on and off since I was at another radio station. On my Facebook page, we might share images and comments about it, and we get all these. I push back on the ignorance that people exhibit on my page. As a survivor of childhood sexual violence and a performer, I have to put things into compartments, and I'm feeling a little raw today. And one of the things that's hard for me to explain to people is that when I am on the radio, there isn't necessarily, aside from scheduled guests, I don't really often have a plan for what I'm going to talk about, because it's often based on the news, on what strikes me before I come on the air. Right now I have a job that I'm so proud of, working for the Comptroller of the State of Illinois, where I amplify the work that is done by the people that support our residents, the people of the state of Illinois, no matter where they came from or when they came here, where they find themselves in the economic ladder, what their background is. We strive to make sure that those who are elderly, disabled, who are veterans, who are taking care of children, or the disabled who have disabilities, have the resources and the support that they need. And when I come here after all of that and process the job that I've done all day long and the news of the day, today is a little bit harder than usual, because, we knew that Trump's involvement was significant, and a lot has been made of that. And Haley Robeson said something tonight in an interview. She was asked, "What can we do in the media? What would you like us to do?" And she said, "Don't let us fade away." And Representative Grivala and the others who have signed the discharge orders, I appreciate that. And I want to say it's not just about the Epstein survivors. I would say for all survivors of sexual violence, I'm asking you not to let us fade away. This is one of the reasons why I continue to demand accountability from somebody who is in power, who used their power to extenuate and weaponize the trauma of rape survivors. And that is the Representative Lindsay LaPointe's campaign, and she herself, who put out mailers accusing me of being a disgusting extremist who could not help women in the instances of rape and incest. And I have demanded for years that she take accountability for that, and those who supported her. And there's a very significant reason, because if they're willing to do that to somebody just because they want to run for their community, because they want to help those who need it most, who see that there are issues that need to be addressed, and I know that I have the experience to help others, run on your qualifications, and we demanded accountability. And so that's what I'm saying. Today made me very raw, in the sense that I never had to say, I never felt compelled to tell anybody in public that at 3 years old that I was abducted and raped and left in a laundry bag in a basement. And today, watching these women who are very brave and who are standing up and demanding the release of these Trump files and the lists, who continue to take all kinds of abuse. I went back and looked at Haley Robeson's page, and what she was put through and what she ended up doing even as a teenager. She's being accused of being an accomplice, of participating in all of this, and she was 16 years old. And so survivors are always going to be doubted, are always going to be. I guess that's the part of it is, we're always called liars or, somebody who wallows in their victimhood. You hear me every single day. I might address this and come into it sometimes when it's just the top of mind for me. And today I have to be honest, I'm struggling a little bit. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. I am an advocate, and I have my moments of vulnerability. Actually, as I said yesterday, when that line in The Avengers, when Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk said, "Do you want to know my secret?" I'm always angry. I am always angry, and I manage that the best that I can. And the reason that I'm angry is because I cannot tolerate injustice or violence to those who are the targets of the powerful, the intolerant. Those who just want to manipulate and abuse. So that's where my anger entirely comes from, injustice. And that's why I'm proud to have this radio show at this radio station, and the support that I have from people like Lady B and everybody here at the station, and of course, most of all, from you. So thank you for indulging me. I know that was clumsy. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm going to pull it together during the break. And sorry, Lady B, that was an extra long 24-minute segment. And we'll be right back. I'll take some of your phone calls when we come back on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150 in Seattle.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter. WCPT Replay.
I am, of course, thrilled to be joined by Simon Rosenberg. We can't in any way compromise on and sort of sugarcoat or put lipstick on the Trumpian pig on this sort of racial assault against people of lesser means and of different race. This whole notion that somehow white people in this world are somehow superior to all the other people of the world. Maybe, we could have believed that 150 or 200 years ago, but today it's an absurdity, right? And so we have an obligation. I think that we have to understand now that one of our central collective projects, Edwin, together, is to face white supremacy head on and defeat it.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
He's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
That moment of silence, sometimes I should just tell people the mechanics of how this works. That moment of silence there was my trying to decide, do I want to start talking again? Do I want to play an ad? Am I ready? But we only have 3.5 minutes left in this segment, so let me get to the phone calls. Let's see, I want to stay a little bit close on topic, so let's see if we got Jeff in South Elgin. Hey, Jeff, what's on your mind?
Hey, Patti, thanks for the courage to share your story. It always boggles my mind as a cis white man. I can stand up and say something and immediately be more believable than a woman, than a trans person, than a person of color. If you don't use your privilege powers for good, then why the heck do you have privilege? So thank you for speaking up, and I wish more people would who are the friends and family members and loved ones of survivors. That's huge to me. And I just also wanted to point out the whole Epstein thing. We got to keep our eyes on the prize, too. The past can't hurt us anymore, but the future sure as heck can. And if these guys are going to use Epstein as a distraction to get away from what they're trying to do with healthcare, what they're trying to do with food stamps, what they're trying to do with veterans, we got real problems. I also wanted to point out I called Senator Durbin's offices today in Washington, in Springfield, and in Chicago. None of them answered the phone.
Really?
So I think he's hiding from us. Not a single one. And it's 2025. Shouldn't they have voicemail? That's kind of wild, right?
I would say. Can I ask you a question? When have you called Dick Durbin's office before?
I have.
What do you remember the first time? What was the first instigating moment? Because I remember mine. What was the first time that you called his office?
Man, I've been active for a long time politically, but I feel like the first time recently was the fact that he voted to confirm Marco Rubio.
Okay. I remember mine.
What?
Everyone call me with your first time you needed to call Dick Durbin's office. What was your angering moment? Mine was Al Franken. When he demanded that Al Franken step down, I lost my ever-loving mind. Oh, I was so ticked off.
That's a callback. That's way back.
I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
I've been calling his... Yeah, and I gave that aide an earful.
I was involved in college Democrats back at DePaul back in the day. I remember Dick Durbin standing up the week he announced his candidacy. Paul Simon was literally with him in the room introducing this guy as the next progressive hope for Illinois. What a bleeping disappointment that man has turned out to be.
Oh, my God. So many levels of disappointment. Yeah. Buckets of disappointment.
I did call Tammy Duckworth's office, though. Mm-hmm. I called Tammy Duckworth's office to thank her for her courage and not caving in. And a lovely staffer did answer the phone and did take my feedback. So there's that. So it's not like they were all closed today or anything. It was clearly an issue with Dick Durbin's offices and his staffers. I also wanted to point out I called JB and was like, hey, dude, have a replacement ready because I feel like he's going to resign before his term is up. So I don't know. That's just the vibe I'm getting. Anyway, thanks for being real. We appreciate you and stay hydrated.
Thank you. You have a good evening, my friend. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, me too.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's take a break here. When we come back, I am going to take all the phone calls that are on hold. I do, and I know we have our Up North coming up, but I will get to all the phone calls. But right now, we're going to talk to our friend from Election Truth Alliance in just a moment. So I'm saying that as an alert that you'll be on hold for one segment, folks, and then I will get to your phone calls. But we are going to have on with our friend from... This is Patti scrolling through her show schedule. I know the name. I know it's Nathan Taylor of Election Truth Alliance. In just a moment, he'll update us on their work regarding the 2024 election. All right, I'll be right back after this.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight, a low of 37 degrees, with winds out of the west at 10 to 20 miles an hour. On Thursday, plenty of sun with a high of 56, and southwest winds at 5 to 10. Friday, sunny, high of 59 degrees. Saturday, chance of showers with a high of 64. Sunday, sunny with a high of 50. Monday, we'll see a chance of rain with a high temperature around 46. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 52.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM 820. Stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play WCPT from TuneIn. But now you have another option. We're simulcasting our programming overnight. 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240 for a clearer reception in and around the city. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. And now overnights on WSBC 1240 AM, where facts matter.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Joining us, we continue our drive home. I have to apologize to our guest Nathan Taylor of Truth Alliance. We're switching things around. I don't know what that's a picture of. We are switching things around, Nathan, so I can see you, and you can see our operations manager. I'm gonna turn the camera off.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's Nathan. Go ahead, Matt.
That's perfectly fine.
How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. Hopefully you can hear me well. Let me know if I sound a little out of it.
No, you sound. I'll bet you're exhausted with all the stuff you got going on.
I do have some interesting news, so I'd love to.
Yeah, we just talked to you. Like usually we check in with you every month or so, but we had you on a few weeks ago. I know there were some court proceedings going on, so it sounds as though things have accelerated. What's going on?
Yeah, so as of I believe last week, let me check my calendar. Time is really weird right now. Earlier this month, the Election Truth Alliance, which, as you said, you've had us on a few times. We're a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that has been looking at securing our elections. We've been doing election forensics analysis, statistical or database analysis, looking at how voter behavior is happening. And we've actually been doing on-the-ground investigations in places that just don't add up. And as a side effect of that, we've actually filed our first of hopefully a few different litigations. And one of them is now public, has been filed, and it is in Pennsylvania. We're actually looking at 3 counties, and we kind of outline some of the concerns at large there. So I don't know if you've seen or heard anything yet. I'd love to hear kind of what's on your radar so far.
Well, what we've been talking about, is of course it's the wishful thinking that Trump didn't win, right? There's a lot of that. There's a lot of please let this happen. Please, tell us that people did show up. I mean, especially there was an incredible video out about how much veterans donate to campaigns. And it turns out since Trump won the first time, more veterans and military members are donating to Trump. And folks are like, well, then how did he win? I mean, there does seem to be this momentum behind, did he have that kind of support? And then seeing the discrepancies in the election results in the places that you're tracking seems to kind of lend itself to that.
Well, what's interesting is this first lawsuit is not filed with the intent to change the results of the election in Pennsylvania. It does focus on the 2024 election. We do highlight the presidential election, but its intent is not to change or decertify the results. It's actually the intent of this initial lawsuit is to prompt further investigations into the discrepancies and problems that are in the lawsuit that have been highlighted. And one of the outcomes we are seeking in this first lawsuit is a hand count of the initial physical ballots in these 3 counties for the 24 election or the presidential race. And what's really important here is we're not accusing, anyone in this lawsuit. We're saying, hey, our elections need to be free, fair, safe, and secure. We need to make sure that any problems are looked at. And we pretty much in the lawsuit lay out all of the different problems that occurred both on election day and, in hindsight, with our analysis, we've highlighted, concerns or trends. And I mean, some of the things that we specifically highlight in our lawsuit is we talk about the systems we are using to not only cast our vote, but nearly in 100% of the U.S. count our votes, even the paper ballots, even the mail-in ballots. They're all counted by systems, by machines. And our lawsuit does go into detail talking a little bit about some updates done to the main systems prior to the election that we flag. And then we also talk about machine failures that actually happened in Pennsylvania on election day. We highlight one county where they had all of their precinct level voting scanners, their optical scanners, not able to process ballots. And it created effects that we highlight in the lawsuit, such as, they having to hand copy ballots over and then hand scan them later on in the day. And during that process, we flagged that, some of the initial amount of ballots that are made public don't match the digital reports now, where we have more votes that were said to have been hand counted, but less votes cast when scanned through the systems. These are things that we've highlighted in the lawsuit, and that's why we are seeking, a further investigation, right? I think the main thing that the common consensus now is it never hurts to double check.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Please double check. And again, I know that I came in with like what the hopes are or what people perceive is what happened in the last election. And what you guys are doing is analyzing the information, the likelihoods, the, past performances in different precincts. So I think, as you've mentioned, that the goal is to make sure that our elections are safe, that they are accurate, because, with the news today and folks who are talking about, their representation and what's happening at the federal level or at the local level, our vote is our voice. That is ultimately what we have in this democracy, regardless of what people want to call it. They can use all the, it's not really a democracy, it's a republic. But when it comes down to it, we are a representative government. And that's
right. And
yeah, go ahead.
And I think we've said this a few times where it's not just about who you vote for, but who you don't vote for. Being able to remove people who don't perform their duties, that's a core tenet of a democracy. And if for some reason, once someone's in power, they stay in power and you have no ability to remove them, that's a big deal. That's a big concern. Now, we'll highlight, we do lay this out in our lawsuit, but we are working on other places. And as I think we talked about this last time, we've been looking at Florida as well, doing on-the-ground investigations there, building some legal cases. And really the concern is as we go forward, the ETA is going to continue to do this, but we're also going to expand out to other places. But one of the main things that we keep talking about is, both in our litigation and in our public data on our website, electiontruthalliance.org, we talk about applying election forensics to elections, which has never been successfully done in the U.S. before. I think you remember the last time anyone tried to use statistics in a lawsuit over elections was right after the 2020 election, and I believe it didn't go so well. Do you recall that at all?
Just a little bit of the...
Just a little bit.
It's the results of that. Yeah, and repeatedly on a large scale, too, right?
I think it was over 60 lawsuits. And we did actually, during the building of our first lawsuit, we looked at what arguments were made in those previous lawsuits and how did they fare. And we found that there wasn't the methodologies we use and we put out in our lawsuit here is peer-reviewed methodologies that have been widely accepted by U.S. and non-U.S. experts when you're talking about like election anomalies or election fraud. Mostly this data has been used to look at Russian elections or Bolivian elections. We haven't really used it to look at U.S. elections before. And I think that's the main pushback we're getting, is because it's never been done before here. A lot of people are very hesitant to, agree or disagree that it could be useful. And that's really the other half of this lawsuit, is we're saying if our concerns are valid, we need to validate. And here's what our analysis is flagging. We do flag that in Pennsylvania, the 67 counties in Pennsylvania, 38 of them use one of the largest voting system brands, and 14 use the second largest. The second largest just recently, changed branding. And what's interesting is when doing our analysis, we're finding that both of these systems are exhibiting the same concerns. And as I said, the methodologies we use are peer-reviewed methodologies, and they flag voting anomalies that mirror known vote manipulation in Russian and Bolivian elections. And it's a big deal, because if there is a concern, if there is something going on with our voting systems in Pennsylvania, as we've said many, many times, the estimate of change would be more than enough to change the outcome of the presidential election. So we are very hopeful that this initial lawsuit and additional lawsuits will allow us to validate if there's problems with the counting of our votes, whether it's, a malicious compromise or not, we don't know. But we need to get ahead of it now, because as you know, and as everyone else is saying, and we've had, the recent elections and everyone's talking about the drastic shift in recent political choices, it's very important that as we go forward, if there is a problem, we need to figure it out before the midterms, when it's going to be a very large and very impactful next round of elections, I believe.
What do you say to folks? That's incredible work you guys are doing. And what do you say to folks? I'm sure that you get a lot of, messages. I'm not sure in what format, but what do you say to people who call you election deniers?
I think it's always interesting that this does come up. That was pretty much everything at the beginning, right? When the ETA first started, and we first started publishing analysis in Nevada, that was the first thing, is we're being accused of being election deniers. Well, I'll say this. How can making sure our elections are free, fair, safe, and secure, how can making sure that people's votes are counted and counted correctly be partisan? How can it be political? Is that not a basic tenet of democracy, is making sure that our elections are being run correctly? And so if asking and validating our elections is election denial, I think that's silly. I really think it is, because, for example,
my point being that they're comparing it to the 2020 election, right? Because that's what those folks were called. So right. So
now, I will highlight a few some differences. If you remember what happened last time around, I would highlight, look at who was making accusations, look at how they went about making those accusations, and look at what the data
Can I clarify?
End of the day.
Can I clarify what you're saying? It was Donald Trump making the accusations and riling up his base, and it is not Kamala Harris is not out there saying that she actually won the election. So you're not being an election denier. You're actually looking at the data as opposed to acting on emotion or a grudge.
And I will highlight that there were audits conducted after the 2024 election, especially in Arizona, and those audits went through, and they had hand counts, and they didn't find the discrepancies that were being accused. So this is almost a repeat of that, in the sense that we're seeking the same level of validation that has occurred before, and this is not for any political entity. The ETA actually is 100% grassroots funded by small donations. Our largest donation to date is only $2,000. The average donation that the ETA has gotten to do these lawsuits and to do this work is like $40. So we're not getting paid by super PACs. We're not getting paid by political entities. We are literally getting paid by American voters who want to make sure that as we go forward, our elections are being run correctly. We're getting paid to do this work, to fund these things, and we're volunteers doing it. So all of the funds are really just going towards, the legal action, the services, and I think that's the distinction as well. Is I think we've had a lot of people recently ask about that, where are your funds and your donations coming from? So I think it's interesting. Well, yeah. I wonder, is there any other big questions in terms of the lawsuit? We can't speak too much about it, obviously, but those are the big items.
The biggest question is, how do we support the work that you're doing and make sure that you keep going to make sure that our elections are fair and safe?
Yeah. So we do have a few things coming up. As I said, we are building litigation in Florida. I think we've talked about and we've made public now. So the Election Truth Alliance has actually been working with a few different entities, groups. One of these entities is now another group that has started making public some of the findings in Florida. That's Allison Green, and It's Up to Us. And they've put that up on their Substack. Mostly we've been on the ground across the U.S. looking at the places that are being flagged as weird based on the analysis. We've been on the ground in St. Lucie County, which we've now made public, and Allison has made public some of the concerns in St. Lucie County going back to 2016. You may not have heard of this. I may not have mentioned this, but as we've investigated the systems we're using, we found that in 2016, there was a successful breach of the voter registration database by Russia. Russia successfully put voter registration malware on two counties in Florida. One of them was St. Lucie County. It was discovered. There were multiple, investigations, but we have yet to really see the full extent of what was done about it. And we're flagging that some of the reports that came out of that mention talking about manipulating the registration, removing voters maliciously. And as we've investigated Florida, we've started to make known similar concerns we're seeing, where the county records are showing discrepancies between how many active voters they have before, after, and during the election. And it's starting to look like 10% of the voters are being shifted around. These are just some of the things we're making public. We're going to very soon make public some deeper dives into the registration systems in Florida and Pennsylvania. We're going to look at the trends of active voters across multiple years, and we're going to highlight if there's any interesting shifts recently versus the past. And I think that's something to look forward to as we go.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Again, folks can go to electiontruthalliance.org. Support the work that they do, as he mentioned. It is nonpartisan. They are just going after the truth and based on data and all the information that they have available to file these suits. And we look forward to learning more. And when you can talk more about that, Nathan. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, if you're interested in following more, as I said, we put things up on our website, our Substack, electiontruthalliance.org, and our YouTube. So please go check those out.
Thank you
so
again.
much.
Again, Nathan Taylor with Election Truth Alliance. We'll talk to you very soon, I'm sure. Take care. Got the camera up at the last segment, by the way. I have to look at you this way to talk to you this way, so it's very disorienting. Have a good night, Nathan. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. We've got some callers on hold, and I will take that in just a moment. Again, 773-763-9278. More after this.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
More and more research is showing that you can slow cognitive decline as you age. Today I want to tell you about the Pointer Study, the largest randomized clinical trial in the United States designed to examine whether or not lifestyle interventions can be protective for cognitive function in older adults. Researchers found 3 things made the biggest difference in delaying normal cognitive aging. Number 1 was exercise. I know that moving more when you're used to being sedentary can be tough. Start small, start easy, build up slowly. Number 2, diet. And when it comes to what you eat, you can't do better than the Mediterranean diet. More fruits and vegetables, whole grains and fish, less red meat, less processed foods. And number 3, finally, don't underestimate the importance of socialization. Not online, but in person, often, and in a meaningful way. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, plus get a $300 instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
At Bank of America, we're proud that more than 20,000 veterans and people with military backgrounds have joined our ranks since 2015. Now we're committed to adding 10,000 more over the next 5 years. By helping veterans achieve their career goals, we're moving from appreciation to action, and together helping expand economic opportunity across America. Visit bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue to drive it home. Let's get to our phone calls. Again, 773-763-9278. Ooh, we got to keep 2 lines open, Lady B. We got to keep 2 lines open. John Fugelsang's new book, Separation of Church and Hate, is a New York Times bestseller. And to celebrate, John is hosting a book tour pay-per-view comedy special recorded in D.C. on September. Oh, that would be weird if we missed it. On Saturday, November 15th at 8 p.m. Central, watch John on your computer, tablet, smartphone, or cast to your TV. If you go to meethook.live/John F., you can order the pay-per-view book package, or if you Are they calling? We have 2 lines open, so this is your chance. If you are the second caller right now at 773-763-9278, you will win a stream code to watch the show live and on demand. Call 773-763-9278 right now. Contests running on WCPT are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. Only 1 entry per person, 1 winner per household. Void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT820.com by clicking the contest tab. We are taking your calls in the order they were received, and now we are taking our call from Jim, who was technically the first caller of the show, and I took another caller because we're talking about Epstein. Hey, how are you doing, Jim? What's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty. When I could stomach Republican radio, they pointed out the immorality of Joe Biden. First of all, you had a phantom tryst in a hallway with a woman, and then the Catholic station said, one of their mouthpieces said, well, you notice the way he likes to sniff little girls' hair. So I called their station right back. I said, well, it takes a demented pedophile to even pick that up. Only a pedophile can pick that up. And that was a Catholic station because they're pushing Trump right through your nose. But we all know the guy is a pedophile, and we all know he's a rapist and everything else. But the point is, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing to science. I just saw a program on Harvard. These are 2 tedious scientists for 20 years, 15 years working on breast cancer in different forms. And this is in the future, Patty. This is your son's children and so on and so forth. This is what's affecting. And if they don't sig heil to the Republican Party, they'll cut off their funding. Now, what kind of an American proposal is that? Can you tell me that?
It's the kind of the rich and powerful execute because they don't care and it doesn't affect them. Right? I mean, that's...
but they're all going to die of something, Patty. We're all going to die of something. I mean, even Musk is going to get cancer sometime or something, or Safe's going to fall on him, or something's going to happen to him. My point is, this is science.
I know.
What if we stopped all science in 1860?
Do you know what I think you and I both expect or hope is that people will have a coming to Jesus moment, right? I think that's part of it, is that we think that people are going to wake up and, this is even, at any level, we figure people who are horrible are going to learn the error of their ways, and expecting that or hoping for it is exhausting, and we have to do the work that we do. I don't know what else to say, Jim.
No, but you got to restore it. You got to restore this, Patty. I don't care what happens. I don't care. So they got away with it for a while, but they got to restore science, Patty. They got to restore it.
Anyway, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me.
Thank you, Patty.
Take care. All right, let's get to Ron in Chicago. Hey, Ron, what's on your mind, my friend?
Yes, Lauren Boebert signed a discharge petition for...
Did she sign it? Because I know they were trying to bully her. They were trying to bully her, Taylor Greene, and Boebert, Mace, right? They were trying to bully all of them.
Right. Yeah, she was summoned to the White House today, and she was taken to the Situation Room where there was Trump and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, and they promised her. And they promised her and threatened her, and didn't work. She signed it anyway.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm glad she signed it anyway, because this is what they all have been screaming about, whether it's Patel or Bonino. What's his name? Bonino, right? Bonino said that he had talked to some agent who was involved in the investigation, and he was disgusted by what he heard. And we haven't heard from that guy. Do you notice that?
Yeah, right. He's disappeared.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be surprised if Trump gives the order to invade Venezuela as a distraction. So
you're not kidding on that one. You mean executing people without any evidence? Yeah, I hear you.
Oh yeah.
Well, Ron, it was good to hear from you.
All right, bye.
Take care. I want to get to some of our texts. Thank you so much for all the kind words that folks are sending me. I really appreciate it. If you are just tuning in, I was addressing really the energy of today and how more information is coming out regarding the Epstein files, the evidence that not only did Trump know what was happening, he was present while it was happening. And there are a lot of folks who will post on my Facebook page about how the survivors haven't named him. And this is so this was one of the things that kind of took my breath away. And, as a survivor of childhood sexual violence, I don't often think of myself as speaking for 3-year-old me, only when I heard one of the survivors talk about that's what she does, that she is fighting for her 16-year-old self. I guess without naming it, that's what I have been doing for 51 years because I was assaulted when I was 3 years old. And watching these women who have been intimidated, who have had the spotlight, have been manipulated and assaulted and have experienced sexual violence since a very young age, and expecting them to really do anything. Like, they don't owe us. Here's the thing, folks. They don't owe us a thing. They don't owe us anything, and they are demanding that these files be released. Regardless, they are being very honest. It doesn't matter what political party you are from. And if you really, all these moms for liberty and all these people who are like, oh, the children. Well, these are women in their 30s and 40s who are speaking for their 12-year-old selves, for their 15-year-old selves, for their 16-year-old selves. So whatever it is, they are the ones that are demanding these files be released. And I know that a lot of it has to be redacted for those who don't want them to be, or don't want to be associated with them. So at any rate, I'm grateful for the women who are coming forward, and for those who don't trust these women. That, again, goes back to what I was saying earlier when I ran for state representative, and Representative Lindsay LaPointe and Senator Robert Martwick cast a light on survivors of sexual violence as being untrustworthy, because just because they did it to me and they did it to domestic violence survivor Joe Dupulshin, they didn't just do it to us. They told other survivors that if you step into the light and speak your truth and fight for those in your community, you can expect the same. And that is why I also continue to demand accountability and transparency. So thank you, everybody, for your very kind words. Someone wrote, no one covers the issue of survivors of sexual assault the way you do. I appreciate your kind words. And I spent 51 years being quiet. And believe me, when I was little, my mom had struggled because at 3 years old, I would walk up to strangers at church, in the grocery stores, on the bus, and say a boy touched my potty. Because I knew at 3 years old it was wrong. And I've spent the rest of my life trying to figure out how to fight for others who are not just in a similar situation, but feel vulnerable, feel silenced. And yeah, that's why you're not going to shut me up, folks. So let me take a break here. We've got to get to our Up North podcast, and I'm extremely late. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
If you're looking to purchase a home after a divorce, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Today, meet Charlie, field technician, income $100,000 a year, had an amicable divorce from his wife. Charlie wanted to purchase a home while he was in the middle of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy to be close to his 3 kids, so he called Team Hochberg for a free consultation. Great move. Team Hochberg loan officer John Hendrickson answered Charlie's questions, secured a bankruptcy court approval so Charlie could purchase a new home to be close to his 3 kids. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Charlie purchase a new home after his divorce while in the middle of a bankruptcy so he could be close to his 3 kids. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know and love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, and LS 112-4061.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, but they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Jeffrey Epstein is again the talk of Washington, and it involves President Trump. Ed Donahue has the latest.
Documents released by Democrats in the House Oversight Committee show Jeffrey Epstein wrote in a 2019 email to a journalist, Donald Trump knew about the girls. Epstein also wrote in 2011, he told Ghislaine Maxwell Trump had spent hours at Epstein's house with a sex trafficking victim. At the White House, this is Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
Leavitt says Democrats are selectively leaking the emails to smear the president.
And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep.
Leavitt says the White House has been transparent about the Epstein case. President Trump has consistently denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes and has said he ended their relationship years ago. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The House of Representatives is back in session tonight. Before it, a bill that would reopen the government. The large majority of Democrats are expected to vote against the bill because it doesn't extend health care tax credits. Representative Pramila Jayapal.
Look, we just need to extend these tax credits and make sure that people have access. 22 million Americans have access because they're fine to put $1 million little prizes in this appropriations bill so 8 senators can sue the government. They're fine to send $40 billion to Argentina, but they don't want to help Americans afford their health care. That's really the fight that's on the table and has been this whole time.
Stocks closed mixed. The Dow gained more than 325 points to reach another record high. But tech stocks weighed on the rest of the market. The S&P closed with a small gain. The Nasdaq fell. This is AP News. Lisa Dwyer has a story on a secret message.
An encrypted message in an art installation outside the CIA headquarters has stymied the world's best code breakers for 35 years. Now the secret to deciphering it is up for auction. Bobby Livingston with RR Auction.
The first 3 messages were unencrypted within 10 years, but the K4 has remained encrypted till this day.
Jim Sanborn's Cryptos was installed in 1990. Sanborn says the encrypted messages are paragraphs that build on each other while becoming increasingly difficult to decipher. Not even AI has solved the mystery. At 79, Sanborn is looking for the next keeper to the secrets of K4.
That method is the real deal, and nobody has the method but me.
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight, a low of 37 degrees, with winds out of the west at 10 to 20 miles an hour. On Thursday, plenty of sun with a high of 56, and southwest winds at 5 to 10. Friday, sunny, high of 59 degrees. Saturday, chance of showers with a high of 64. Sunday, sunny with a high of 50. Monday, we'll see a chance of rain with a high temperature around 46. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 50.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are so thrilled to be bringing you the Up North podcast. We have an incredible show for you today. And I think it's going to be filled with a lot of just energy. So let's take it away. Let's send it up to the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room in Madison, Wisconsin. Here is Kirk Bangstad.
And I wanted to tell a story of why this show is crazy. So the reason we have so many people here is because last Thursday, I reached out to Charlie Sykes on Substack. And if anybody doesn't know what Substack is, it's kind of where all the progressive journalists are going because mainstream media is falling apart. And so if you want to hear Jim Acosta from CNN, if you want to hear Heather Cox Richardson, if you want to hear the Midas Touch, you go to Substack because that's where you can get your truth these days. So anyways, somehow or another, the Minocqua Brewing Company is ranked number 9 on U.S. Substack pages in the 3 weeks. You know, we were 45. So I started telling Amy, my producer, I was like, I mean, we're not famous, but somehow on Substack we are. So let's reach out to other people who we want to talk to for this podcast and see if they'll join. So we reached out to Charlie Sykes last Thursday. And I was like, listen, you know, we might not be on the same part of the political spectrum, but we both have said that we'll do anything we can to save democracy in America. And so maybe it's good if we we talk with each other and we cross-pollinate each other's platforms. And he said, sure. So he agreed to be on this show last Thursday or Friday. We've been in communication ever since. So yesterday at about 7 p.m. Can you put the picture up there?
That's not me.
Well, we're always trying to learn here. We're on a very, very so my apologies. I have a scheduling conflict for Wednesday that cannot be finessed. Sorry for the inconvenience. I was like, oh man, I've got all these people coming, and we got lots of folks here who wanted to talk to Charlie Sykes. And I said, listen, can you do it? And he's like, no. So then I started calling all of my political connections, like, what do we do for this show? We've got to tell the story of Charlie Sykes. One of them got back to me, put the next picture up. One of them got back to me, he's like, I think it's possible that Charlie Sykes didn't want to be in your show because there's this talk show host named Jessica McBride, who's super, in Milwaukee, these AM radio stations are all super Republican and super mean. And so she took our advertisement that he was going to be on our show, and she's like, and so the transformation is now complete, as if, he has betrayed Trump so much that he's actually talking to a progressive brewery like us. And so that gained traction. And then there were other pictures. You want to show the next one? There were other pictures where they AI'd and made him look potentially like a progressive guy, and made fun of him. And so that kept on going and going and going, and that was what they were talking about on uber, right-wing media in Milwaukee. And so he said his travel plans change, and I hope that all it was. But I have a feeling, because a lot of political folks have told me, that it might have been because the MAGA movement or the MAGA talk show folks in Milwaukee, pushed him out or bullied him out of being able to talk with us. So that's the reason Charlie Sykes is not going to be on the show, but tonight. And I hope that we can continue the dialogue and get him to talk to us down the road. But we have worked our tails off today to still tell the story of how Charlie Sykes shaped Wisconsin politics. And the guests we have on tonight are the perfect people to tell that story. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Dan Kaufman, who wrote The Fall of Wisconsin. And Dan is a Wisconsin-born journalist. He's written for the New Yorker, the New York Times, The Guardian. We'll talk to him a little bit about how much time he spent. I mean, he knew everything. I read the book. Amy, my producer, read the book years ago before this show, but we were like, we got to get this guy if he can be on it. And he agreed to be on the show today. And then we have also Robert Craig, who is joining us from Citizen Action of Wisconsin. He's director in Milwaukee. He has been I wasn't in Wisconsin when Act 10 happened. I was in New York City. Patti Vasquez, who's on the show, is in Chicago, and Ben Cominos is from Pennsylvania, but he lives in Appleton now. So none of us were actually there when all that happened. So we can't tell the story or even talk about the story without having somebody who's been there. So Robert Craig has been there, and then we have John Shelton also, who's going to be on the show. He's the president of AFT, the American Federation of Teachers in Wisconsin. He's a professor at University of Green Bay, and he's going to talk to us about the effects of what Charlie Sykes advocated, the effects of Wisconsin electing Scott Walker and going for Trump. What's that done to the state of Wisconsin throughout the course of the show? So we don't have a ton of time. I've spoken a lot in the introduction here, but I wanted to, before we go on to the history I want to talk to Dan in the second segment primarily. I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on just the fact that there was enough bullying potentially to stop somebody who might be very conservative on almost everything possible